12th, we have World Order, which is the next game coming from the same team that brought you the game Hegemony, which is currently ranked number 61 on Board Game Geek, which is really impressive considering this game was just released in 2023 and it's been making quite a splash and working its way up the rankings. Although there is a shared theme here, this one is going to be very much its own game and it's going to play quite a bit differently than Hegemony because this one is a competitive deck building area control game. I can't say for sure if this one's going to be as well received because reaching number 61 on Board Game Geek is a very difficult thing to do, but I do think this one will be talked about and I think it does look like a really solid design because in this game players are going to be playing as different countries and you're going to be trying to gain influence in different ways throughout the world represented by different cubes in those regions. When you're able to put your influence cubes in these regions, you're going to be able to choose if you want to put it in the top section or the bottom section, and the bottom section is worth more points, but it does come with a few risks because this section doesn't score unless the top section is completely full, and also when you put your cubes in the top section they are guaranteed to stay there for the rest of the game, but in the bottom section there is actually no limit to the amount of times a cube can be put there, and as it reaches its limits, the cubes that were put there earliest are going to be knocked off going back to that player. The game plays over 6 rounds with 2 scoring phases. There's one at the end of the 3rd round and then one at the end of the game. And of course, you're trying to get the most victory points in order to win. Players are going to be using action cards of different types in order to take their various actions in this game. But what's really interesting about this is that each player also starts with a number of allied country cards. And these not only limit the locations that you're able to take certain actions, but you're also going to be using and flipping these cards in conjunction with your action cards in order to augment those actions in different ways. Each round, players are going to be drawing 6 of these cards from their deck and then taking turns just playing one at a time until each player has played 4 cards. What's cool about this is that the remaining cards that you didn't play are going to be granting you with points in order to buy new cards and also granting you with money that you can use to perform or augment different actions. The different cards are broken into different categories depending on the type of effects they have. There's diplomatic actions, economic actions, military actions, or domestic actions. There's a whole variety of different effects and abilities that these cards can have, but like I said, the main thing you're trying to do is get influence cubes out on the different regions of the board, and the main ways that these cards allow you to do that is through either diplomacy, where you're going to be spending any diplomacy that you've earned in order to place a cube in an allied country, or instead you could do it through an investment into an allied country, which also allows you to place a cube there, and it also does generate you interest from that country in future rounds. The other main way that you can place these influence cubes is by building a military base in an allied country. Whenever you do that, you're also going to be paying money to place tanks and cubes in that country. But like I said, these action cards can do a lot of different things, and they could even allow you to move these tanks around to different regions, which can be really helpful to you since they can subtract points from other players or even act as tiebreakers when checking for a majority. And there's also cards that can help you improve relations with other countries that maybe you aren't allied with in order to eventually ally with, giving you even more options and combinations to use those cards with your action cards. Some effects can also allow you to purchase ability cards, which not only give you ongoing abilities, but also victory points for the end of the game. And of course, action cards can also offer you a bunch of different ways to either generate or convert resources into other resources, such as your money, your diplomacy, or the different commodities that you'll be using in a variety of different ways. If this one sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out and I will have it linked in the description down below.